Hello everyone, it's Laffy Traffy. Chapter 1029 of One Piece is officially out, and it is titled The Tower, which is an homage to Hawkins' fighting style centered around tarot cards and predictions and crazy things like that, but we're here to focus on the contributions of Killer in this chapter. If you watched my reaction, which if you didn't, feel free to go check that out. And if you've seen previous reviews and reactions from this channel, you'll know that it's a little bit of a different setup now, so my reaction and review is on Friday with my Twitch stream. Feel free to go follow me on Twitch if you want to catch them live. I stream 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fridays, which we have a chapter this week, so no break, so go check me out over there if you want to catch me live next Friday. And then on Sundays, I'm just going to focus on one topic that was super interesting in the chapter, and for this one it is Killer, because Killer has defeated Hawkins and has really proven himself to be a very vital member of the Kid Pirates. I'll just say it, at this particular point in time, Killer is so much more impressive than Kid, and Killer has always been a favorite of mine just because, like, the masked face, he's mysterious but super strong, but I also really enjoyed the way that he fights with dual-wielding sickles, which is coincidentally one of my D&D characters, and now it all makes sense. But it's a very acrobatic, finesse type of fighting style mixed with just pure strength. And then with on the rooftop, his feats up there about using sound waves to actually damage Kaido and Big Mom internally. That was crazy. Like, he definitely stepped it up here in Wano on the raid especially. But even before the raid, Killer has been a very big part of Wano so far, because we saw that while Kid was captured, Kid was held at ransom against Killer in a way, because Orochi managed to convince Killer to have a smile fruit because it might give him a chance to save his captain. I'm sure it was forced on him because Killer, on top of everything else that's great about him, he's a very tactical thinker and very smart when it comes to situations. He's always able to look at things from a different perspective, unlike Kid, which is very similar to Zoro and Luffy, where Luffy's the chaotic, just punch everything, whatever gets in his way. Kid's the same way, and then we have Zoro and Killer there who are like, okay, maybe we should think about this. Yes, I know you want to punch things, but maybe if we just thought about it. And then they're often ignored by their captains. So it's really cool to see that dynamic with Kid and Killer versus Luffy and Zoro, since they're supposed to be like the two supernova crews that are at the top. And yes, I know, what I would give to have a Law interaction with his crew members. I mean, we have Beppo and he's great, but I mean, do we even know who's the first mate of Law's crew? We don't. That's the answer. Is it Penguin? Is it Sachi? Is it Beppo? We know Beppo's the navigator. Is it Jean Bart because he has experience, but he's such a newcomer? Anyway, we don't have these interactions on Law's crew, and I think if he did, he would be a little bit, his crew would be much more impressive, like Killer is, because having an impressive first mate really bumps up the prestige of your crew. And at this moment, while Zoro really enhances and makes Luffy look even better, Killer's making Kid look kind of not. But the way that this chapter ended, I feel like we're gonna get some really intense Kid action soon. Sorry, Law, you've been holding off Big Mom now, but I feel like we're gonna be getting a big Kid spotlight coming up, where he's gonna really push back against Big Mom now that this kind of side distraction has stopped, that Hawkins was using his body to manipulate and hurt as he was in the fight, and he couldn't focus, so Law had to protect him. All these things making Kid look worse and worse. So, maybe this is, the dip before the rise, where Kid's been looking kind of unimpressive lately, but I've been holding out for him, so I think next chapter is where we're really gonna start seeing Kid as a monster, because that's how we were introduced to him, because that's how I want to see him. I want to see him as a monster who could almost compete with Luffy. I think at this point, if Kid did have some secret power, we should have seen it against Kaido already, so I'm leaning towards he doesn't. But he is still against Big Mom and Emperor, so maybe right now, like Luffy, maybe Kid will blossom some overpowered ability or new technique in the midst of battle, because we don't often get that. for side characters, you know, but Kid is a strong captain in his own right, and so maybe we're gonna see something really impressive from him. I don't know if it's gonna be advanced armament. Maybe we'll get to see him use Conqueror's Hockey, because that's also something we haven't seen him use yet, but regardless, I think next chapter will be a big focus on Kid, which I'm perfectly okay with, especially since Law will also be there. But yeah, overall Killer is just, he is such a great first mate, because even before the raid, all the way on Wano, like I was saying before, Killer sacrificed so much for Kid, and eating that smile, probably being forced to, and then going off on errands from Orochi to assassinate people, go against Zoro. You know, he wasn't mind controlled, but, you know, with Kid held against his will and the constant threat of your captain being killed, Killer and Kid's relationship are so close that Killer would never let that happen, so he listened to everything that he had to do, he was being used and abused, and then of course he ate the false smile, so now he's forced to laugh without any abilities. I mean, he can't even save his captain from drowning anymore, Jesus! And he doesn't even get a cool ability on top of that. Killer has just been by Kid's side, whether literally or emotionally, fighting for him on the outskirts of Wano, killing people for Orochi just so his captain wouldn't be injured. It makes it really clear why Killer is such an important figure in Kid's crew and why he is for sure the first mate and his partner. Just every time, you know, when they were both being drowned and being tortured while Luffy was trying to go up against Queen, the connection that the two of them have make me, first of all, really want a Kid backstory, and because I assume Kid and Killer grew up together. I mean, this is probably just a headcanon at this point because we have no background for the Kid Pirates, but with their connection, I feel like they've grown up together, or at least they were for sure the first members of the Kid Pirates long ago, and I would just love to see what brought them here and what they've gone through together. Just a glimpse of it. Just a glimpse of their childhood, maybe. I don't know. The way that these chapters are going, it was a big Killer moment, next chapter might be a big Kid moment, maybe we'll get a Kid flashback. I mean, maybe just a few panels, but I would be super satisfied with that, and just a few glimpses of Kid and Killer's relationship, or just Kid's backstory as he goes against Big Mom. I don't know if he's gonna defeat her, I'm still holding out my judgment for that because I genuinely don't know. It could go either way. I am definitely looking forward to next chapter. I just wanted to highlight in the meantime all the things that Killer has done for Kid, because even back at the start of the Alliance, Killer was the one who tried to get a bunch of Supernova together to work together, which, as we've seen with Law and Luffy, can be really beneficial. They just unfortunately had no way of knowing that Apu was a little shit and sold them all out to Kaido, and that's how that all failed. But Killer was the one trying to rein everyone in. We saw Kid immediately try to go fight them as Killer tries to hold him back. He's clearly the brains of the operation and, you know, keeping a cool head and strategically going about the new world. So we know now how Kid has gotten this far, and I don't want to say that degradingly, but at this point, Kid, you gotta show me something. Because Killer is just that impressive. Ever since we saw Killer go up against Zoro and realize that that was Killer, like that was crazy, and Killer has been a forefront character in my mind as an important one that I've been watching out for during this raid, and I'm very happy that he had his moment to shine on the rooftop and against Hawkins now as he's defeated Hawkins. I mean, Hawkins even used his giant, what was it called? The card of destruction, the annihilation card, against Killer, and Killer immediately just beheads it, slices him off clean, which I think is really cool, that the sickle and the straw, it was foreshadowing at its finest. He had a sickle, Hawkins had straw. The ending was predetermined at that point. The fight against Hawkins and Killer was super amazing, and as a lot of people predicted, Killer went for Hawkins's left arm, which I think is just so freaking cool. Taking off Hawkins's arm enough to distract him, and then taking out the straw doll out of his arm, out of his detached arm, was just such a badass move right there. And it's like, oh, sorry, did you want this? Oh, by the way, here's my captain's life, thank you very much. And just tosses it away as Kid's life is no longer under Hawkins's control, and so Hawkins could go crazy, which he did. But I really enjoyed Hawkins's final moments as well, because because he was, although annoying, I think his fighting style is really interesting, but Killer's just that guy, you know, and he immediately slices apart the big annihilation power-up and then immediately slices Hawkins himself as he's run out of lives. He slices Hawkins right up the middle too, because we see that the blood splurts out from his face, and then when we see him lying on the ground defeated, he has that line going down him like, "Whoo, boy, Killer, you have that name for a reason." It was pretty brutal. And then that last panel with his helmet all bloodied and cracked, oh man, it's pretty intense. And then we also get the shot of Kid where he's licking his lips and looking really feral, so that's what leads me to believe that next chapter is finally going to highlight Kid and everything he can do and finally bring him to an impressive standard, because I think he's there, I just don't have any evidence, you know, to back my claims up, because I really feel like Kid has it in him, we haven't seen it yet, so I'm hoping for that next chapter. And of course I'm excited to see Law as well, as, you know, he fights side by side with Kid, and the two of them are probably gonna do some damage to Big Mom. I will say that for sure. Whatever the ending is, they are going to do damage to Big Mom. And as the chapter ends, Killer pushes Kid once more forward and says, "You better get going, partner." It's great to see their dynamic with the two of them, because a first mate is very, very important for a powerful captain. So that was my video highlighting Killer and Kid's relationship and everything that there is for Killer being a great first mate for Kid, and that we're gonna get some action soon. So let me know down below if you've always been a Killer fan, or if you're becoming more and more a Killer fan as the raid progresses, and what your hopes are to see next chapter, because do you think it's gonna be a Kid fight, fighting with Law against Big Mom and putting in some work and finally getting some respect on his name, because that is something that he's been lacking, or do you think it's something else entirely? So let me know down below, and let me know your thoughts about Killer as Kid's first mate. While you're doing that, don't forget to subscribe and like the video, because it means a lot, and we're on our way to 1,000 subscribers, so let me know your thoughts about the new format as well, because I think it'll just make it easier. And if you've stayed tuned this far, then that means you get to know, if you've watched my reaction, you know a little bit too, is my big series is coming out starting tomorrow. Still have a lot of work to do in preparation, but I'm super excited, and it's going to be a super long series. I emphasize long because each video is a decent length. So stay tuned for that. We are starting a particular series, a 10 video series leading all the way up to the end of the year, the next 10 weeks. So every Monday, stay tuned. That's what we will be doing. So yeah, make sure you subscribe so you'll be notified of that tomorrow. But in the meantime, have a great day, follow your dreams, and check me next time. Bye! Beppo, I know you're like the de facto vice captain of the Heart Pirates. I just thought maybe, you know, we could get some more dialogue or some cool fighting. I just feel like it really boosts the crew up if you show some really cool, overpowered stuff. No? Okay.